So we got all of you this time. This is Metal for the Masses, the only place playing it harder, faster, and louder than anybody else. I have the band known as Sagen here to talk about their new album, The Roots of Proctor. So, gentlemen, you can go down, introduce yourselves, and let's talk about this album.
Starting with me.
Yep.
I'm Ryan Vale. I'm the vocalist based out of Clayton, North Carolina. Steven.
Anybody else?
Hey guys, I'm Steven. I'm in New Bern. Play guitar.
And our first animatronic character ever here on Metal for the Masses.
I'm Jordan, the cat guy.
Yeah.
I play lead guitar. I'm based out of Goldsboro, North Carolina. Probably never heard of it.
Well, and before we get to the last and certainly not the least here, I just want to explain for anybody who will be watching this interview, Mr. Jordan Brown's camera is not working. So he has been able to substitute it through magical means by presenting himself as a cat in a hoodie. So if you're listening to this interview, it's all going to be, business as usual. If you're watching this interview, it's certainly a new experience. I myself might break out into laughter at some point, but
the cat's a lot cuter than me anyway. So
no, you probably got it. There you go. Probably got a point there. And sorry, continuing. I think we lost his audio. Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah.
All right. Introduce yourself.
Henry.
I think Jordan.
Talking to Henry or me?
Henry.
Talking to Henry. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, he could hear us, but now he can't. Or he can hear us. Just audio is just not working.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
We hear you now.
Oh. All right. So my name is Henry. I am the bassist of Sagen, and I started about a year ago with my boy Ryan, and we're like brothers. So,
all right. I'm glad you got your audio working. This would have been one hell of an awkward interview. We got a cat guy, and then we got somebody's audio not working. But, gentlemen, thank you for joining me here. First interview of the new year, 2023.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. We're starting the new year off right. And you guys especially starting the new year off right. So Roots of Proctor.
sure.
First off, sure, that does not sound very excited. Who was that? Get hyped, guys. This is your album. This is your work. But anyway,
one thing I'd like to just mention that Derek, who couldn't join, the drummer, I believe he's still getting off work.
Okay. Well, if at any point he would like to join, he is more than welcome to. But so Roots of Proctor, first off, the album artwork, a huge difference from Mammoth. Mammoth being more of like more of a plant-based kind of album artwork, kind of just black and white, a tree, kind of peaceful vibes. This this is, I just want you guys to explain this to me because there's so much going on in this album artwork.
I think this is a new chapter of Sagen. Mammoth was released before I ever joined, and to me it's a completely different band now. Before then it was just, it was decent and it is what it is, but now I think with the new people we have and our heavier influences, we decided to go down a more extreme pathway, and I think we did a hell of a job, in my opinion.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying the comparison between last album and this current album's now the new one, Roots of Proctor. The artwork here, I mean, like it really does seem like you guys have gone down a heavier influence route with this, and it sounds it too. But what were the influences of this album compared to the last album, Mammoth?
Well,
I think, like Henry was saying, the addition of Ryan and Henry, they brought a whole new vibe.
yeah,
And
Ryan and I, we have, sorry to interrupt you. Ryan and I have a more, we're influenced more like with deathcore, tech death, stuff like that. You know, Steven and Jordan, you know, they're into like the old school thrash and whatnot, and you know, modern day heavy metal and stuff like that. And I think all of us combined, you know, like when you listen to Roots of Proctor, it doesn't really sound like a deathcore album, and it doesn't sound like, you know, some generic modern day metal album either. You know, it kind of has that blend of both, and I think that's what really separates us, and I think that's what it makes us sound really unique.
I would have to
Sure.
agree with you there for sure. It definitely does not sound like and I'm not going to go off and say that I've listened to every every deathcore, every old school death metal album that is out there to listen to, but I've listened to my fair share. It definitely does not sound like much of anything that I've ever listened to in the past, which is, I would say that it means you guys are off on the right step. Like, you guys are off in the right direction, trying to make something unique, something that is going to last the test of time. And even, moving away from the album artwork, which is a huge difference from the first album, much more, heavier looking at its face than Mammoth was. I mean, I'm looking at this, right? It's just big, big demonic looking melty sludge face with, I'm assuming is fire erupting out from underneath of it. But it is something to behold. And then to just listen to the album, Proctor's Ledge, the almost war-like chant to start the album off with, into, Floodgates, eventually moving through Crux into Gallows Hill, which Gallows Hill by itself was kind of all over the place in a great way. It got super heavy, then it got like super melodic and light, and then right back into heavy. It just,
Yeah, it's funny because we thought Gallows would be the one that would be the least successful. We were like, yeah, but then everyone's reaction, like everybody I've shown it to, all of my friends, the community, stuff like that, that's like our number one song on the whole album, and it's like completely threw me off guard. So I'm super happy, people enjoy it, and I think that's really cool.
So I'll add in something, one, to answer your original question about the artwork. I'll say this album has, and the story itself has, so many faces to it. It tells a story about the Salem witch trials, and there's many textures to that, and we wanted to kind of show that in our album. We wanted to show all the different sides of things. When you look deeper, there's actually multiple faces in the art, and I think our biggest thing is we want people to think. The whole point of every song is to have people thinking after. We want it to be a deeper context. People can read the lyrics, people can listen to it, but what do you take away from it? And I think a lot of metal today is written, produced to sound simple to the ears, or like something else so that they can connect to it, because part of selling or whatever you're trying to do, you're trying to connect to people and dig into their roots. We want to do something a little bit different that gets people thinking, but when it comes to the whole approach to this album, there are many genres built into this thing. Gallows Hill, for instance, there's a lot of thrash in that song, where later in the album you start getting more into the core type, the deathcore type setups. And when I was doing my part, writing the lyrics and building the vocals, I'm thinking about the story when we're mapping it out. So a song like Gallows is like, we're trying to throw a different texture in each song and have each song speak for itself. That way, you know, when you listen to Burial, you know, right after Winter, Winter is an interesting song. It's like a nice in between. It's pretty easy to listen to, but there's just random textures in there. And then you get into Burial and there's a long story and a little bit more aggressive. So this whole album is just all about getting people, the listeners, to think more once they take it in.
And I definitely get that a lot because I obviously a lot happened to me during the week. I won't go into that here in the interview, but I finally got to listening to the album in its entirety in one sitting earlier today, and it is very different. It is not just some run of the mill kind of, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to go listen to, you know, kind of like a deathcore or a black metal kind of album, you know, that's that. And no, if like, I don't have the most refined ear when I listen to black metal, like, you know, deathcore, black metal, that kind of stuff, but I do have my appreciation of it. And the harder side of metal. When I sit down and I listen to this album, you know, starting in Proctor's Ledge, it kind of just eases you into it. It kind of grips you and gets you ready for Floodgates, then into Cruxton and Gallows Hill. In Oaths, they conjure it. Shortly after that, Bishop, Pressed to Death, which I think is my favorite alpha of the entire album, at least at this point in time. Winter of 1692, and then Burial at the end of the album. It's just a very fascinating kind of culmination of different sounds and different, you know, ways of thinking about how to write music, how to produce this kind of stuff, how to put it down, not just on paper and not just to kind of play it amongst yourselves, but to mix it and put it into an album, just put it out there for everybody else to either, you know, love it or hate it. But here's what you guys as Sagen have to put out there. And even not just from a musical standpoint, but from a vocalist standpoint, my man, Mr. Ryan, you are everywhere on this, like from vocal ranges here. And my hat's off to you. I'm not even wearing a hat right now, but hats off to you on, you know, just the range that you seem to have with my throat was very sore just listening to half the stuff you were spitting out. But
Appreciate that.
oh, absolutely. What did you have to go through? Like, I'm curious. This is just
Lots of throat practice.
oh,
God,
man.
this guy.
You could take it however you want, right?
Yeah.
We'll cut that. We'll cut that.
That's whatever. But yeah, I'll answer that, you know, just kind of the steps, you know, it comes down to what I wanted out of the vocals, and I wanted the vocals to be an instrument. I'm playing with some very talented musicians in this band, and I want my vocals to be one of the instruments. And with any type of, you know, extreme vocal, harsh vocal, you know, it's not always going to be the most clear of sound to a lot of people. So to me, it's playing it's a wrestling match with the ears. You know, I want to tell a story. I want to hit each side of the ears differently. I want to smack in face, pull it back, build you up, smack it again. And so being able to utilize different styles of screaming, whether it be, you know, a low growl or, you know, a high, or, you know, those goblinish sounds. To me, it's all about what that part of that specific song can handle. There was times where I was challenged and I wanted to do something. It wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to. I had it perfectly in my head, but it wasn't happening. So finding ways, you know, there's definitely parts of this album that were frustrating and hard for me. Some of the songs, you know, I redid, couldn't tell you how many times. And to this day and forever, I'll always wish I'd tried something else. You know, there's never enough. And I just think that's being a perfectionist, or you know, any type of musician is going to be that way. But yeah, definitely trial and error, and I was learning things throughout the album. I was learning certain sounds that, I was hearing. It's 2023 and metal vocals are at a different level that no one's ever seen before. And so I wanted to at least put a little bit of some type of effort to make it seem like I'm trying to keep up with these dudes,
Yeah.
But we're at the point now where you want to have good baseline, but you want to be able to pull out the tricks, but also, it's got to be structurally tangible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Stephen and Jordan, I want to kind of bring you guys into the conversation here a little bit. I feel like we haven't heard from you as much as we should be. Kind of playing off of what Ryan has said there, where metal is at, not just vocals, but just music style. Obviously, this is a huge step forward from the album Mammoth. And, bringing in, very talented musicians in their own right, Henry and Ryan here into the fold and having them on this album. Have you guys, kind of learned ways to move your own craft forward in a lot of ways? Like, obviously, with the sound of this album, but through this entire experience, are there things that you guys have learned? And do you find that you guys are thinking more outside of the box, as Ryan was stating, not so much just with metal vocals being at a point that nobody's ever heard them before, but with the sound of metal these days, was it an easy process to kind of come up with the sounds that you guys are making on this album, or was it kind of a slow and steady, difficult process? And that's to either of you.
Steven, you're probably
Yeah.
better.
Um,
That's a question that's best for you.
I think one of the biggest differences between Mammoth and Roots of Proctor was that a lot of the writing was trying to write music that people wanted to hear, or that was kind of like popular and like the bigger metal bands. And then it was kind of frustrating. So this one, it was more of like, what would I want to listen to? What just sounds cool to me? So I think that was the biggest thing. That's why there's such a jump. And then I don't know. I think someone might have slipped me some stuff in my drinks sometimes when I was writing the riffs. But that plus the new additions and all of that stuff really kind of just made a huge gap between Mammoth and Proctor.
Gotcha. Jordan, sir, do you have anything to add to that, or are you just kind of
the cat thing?
Yeah,
I can't. It's hard to look them straight in the non-existent eye here.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, that question, I don't really have a lot to do with the creative process per se, because I mean, Steven writes all of the rhythms and all that stuff. Basically, what I do is I'm the lead player. I come up with the leads. That's pretty much it. I mean, I didn't really have much to do with riff writing per se.
Gotcha. Well, with the stuff that you did have input in, how did it go for you? Were you finding it very easy to kind of keep up with these guys, or?
Now, for some songs, now there were a lot of places where a solo was supposed to go, but I was like, I think we can just take it out. I don't really think it needs a lead.
Gotcha. Like, name one.
But for the most part, I mean, like, for example, the two solos in Floodgates, those solos, that's my favorite song, period, from Sagen, as a matter of fact. And those are the two my favorite solos that I've ever written. And those two, they just wrote themselves.
Gotcha. Well, interesting. So we have this album. We have Roots of Proctor, where do you guys kind of see this going this year? I mean, it is still fairly new. Do you guys see yourself writing any more this year? Do you guys find this blowing up? Do you guys maybe find yourselves going on tour? What is next for you guys here?
I think,
One thing I want to add quick is another big difference for Roots of Proctor is that Derek actually rewrote a lot of the drums that I wrote and what he would do live and stuff, and they took the songs to a completely different level.
Gotcha.
So that was really nice.
It's awesome. Wish he was here.
So, we spent the entire year of 2022 since I joined the band working on this album and perfecting it and trying to make it sound as good as we possibly can. And, we did the music video and all that stuff. So right now, I think we have really good material. And I think our goals for this year is to mainly just hunker down and practice. And we have a show coming up here in South Carolina. And we're trying to get into Blue Ridge and a few other places. And I think right now we're just trying to get ourselves out there in the public eye, I feel like we have some really solid material here, and we're probably going to take a break of writing this year for the most part and try to focus on just getting out there,
Gotcha. Yeah, because that kind of answered my other question that I was going to have is, are you guys, going to be writing anything else as the year goes on? But yeah, absolutely. Taking a break from writing, practice, getting yourselves out there. I think that is, that's a very good, goal to have. I mean, you want to promote this album as much as possible. You want to get out there. You want to make sure people hear it. That way, anything else you guys are going to be coming out with in the near future, people already know your names and, be excited to hear what you guys have to bring to the table, because what you guys do bring to the table is so different. Don't get me confused in any kind of way with anything that I say in this interview. You guys bring to the table something that is not really heard often when you just go and listen to every run of the mill, metal band that is out there. You guys seem like you are okay with taking risks, okay with trying something new out, to try it out, see how it's going to sound, see how it's all going to mesh together, and see what is going to come out of that, whether it be good or bad. You guys have always been a band that I can look at, in the vast, discography of metal for the masses that I have at my disposal. Sagen has always been one, not just with Mammoth, but with the singles that you guys have come out with over time. And now this album, it's something that I can always look at and be, this is something that they're going to surprise me, whenever something does come out from Sagen. So I look forward to seeing what you guys are going to have for the rest of 2023, whether that, maybe you'll surprise us, or just seeing you guys get your name out there and try to help you guys out as much as I can, promoting everything that, whether it just be minor posts or show dates, tour dates you guys are going to have. Hopefully I can do my part and help you guys out in that aspect. But congratulations on a very fine album, gentlemen. A lot of hard work. Absolutely. A lot of hard work definitely went into this, and it shows. I do not.
Lots of sacrifice, lots of, dealing with work.
Yeah.
They're not too happy about, I won't go into that, but, just, setting your priorities, this is our number one priority more than anything else.
Gotcha. And you know what? If you guys continue to put that kind of effort into it, I think it'll, kind of all come together and start paying for itself, because, talent's there, it's just the matter of getting yourselves out there at this point,
Exactly. 2023 goals.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, Sagen, thank you so much for gracing Metal for the Masses with your presence yet again. Congratulations on a brand new, awesome album, Roots of Proctor, which literally just dropped, I believe, what was it, last week?
Last week, January 7th.
Been a long week. My goodness.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
But
I
You
just
can
got my
find
CD
this-
in the mail.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
Unbox it real quick.
Unbox it here on the interview. We'll air
Yeah.
it live.
We'll do it live.
Right. You saw it first here.
See what you guys can get. This is some good quality stuff right here. I have 3 of them. I gave 2 of them away.
So now you only have one of them.
And now I only have 1 of them. And that's my fault.
Oh yeah. Bubble
Let's
wrap.
do it.
Yes.
Booyah.
Bada bang.
That is a
Oh,
beautiful
yeah.
CD.
Yes. Order
Beautiful.
now.
And I'll say this, when you do air this and you do some content, if the first person to and I'm gonna say this, you have to send our Instagram a message that says we love cats and sweatshirts. I will personally buy it for you and we will sign it and send it to you. Okay. So the first person that listens to this and they catch that, shoot our Instagram, slide right into our DMs as hard as you can, and just say we love cats and sweatshirts, and we will send you a signed copy of the album.
So you heard it here. When this airs, we love cats and sweatshirts. You get a free CD from the band Sagen of their brand new album, Roots of Proctor. And if you don't, well, where can we find this fine album?
All
You
over
can-
it, pretty much
yeah,
every
everywhere.
streaming platform. You can buy it on our Bandcamp. But yeah, you can stream it all: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Also, do not forget, do not sleep. Go check out our brand new music video for Crux.
Yes.
Garrett Barefoot did an amazing job. It took a lot of planning, an amazing staff of people that we put together for a multi-day shoot. It was my first time on a music video. It was all of our first times on a music video. That experience was amazing, and I think we put together something pretty nifty. So if you want to, see me looking almost half dead with black stuff coming out of my mouth, go check that out. If you want to see Henry looking absolutely beautiful, and you want to see Jordan, the cat himself, headbanging, go click, go
I
search
got
Crux.
whiplash after that video.
You want to see some
Yeah.
witches getting hung.
Yeah,
if the cat becomes your nickname, I want some credit after this. That's,
Yep.
that's all I want.
Cool Cat Jordan.
That's all I want. Well, all righty, gentlemen. And to all the listeners out there, don't forget, you can also go support these guys on their social media pages, which I'll let them tell you, because then you can go to their Bandcamp page and you can buy not just CDs, any other kind of merchandise, and help support this fine band out of the state of Carolina. So
I designed the merch myself. So
Yep.
I go check it out. Tell me what you think. And if you like it, go grab you one. I'm lowering the prices actually. So
Let's go.
I believe if you search Sagen, we should pop up on Facebook. Our Instagram handle is Sagen_NC for North Carolina. And on both of those, in our description, in our bio, we have a link tree, and that takes you to every link you want to find. It's there.
So you heard it here, folks. Go support the band Sagen. Go download their new album, Roots of Proctor, and be the first to comment on this when it does air on YouTube. What did we say? Cat in a hoodie, and
we love cats in sweatshirts.
we love cats in sweatshirts. Be the first
Yep.
to comment that, and tag Sagen in it. You'll get a free CD,
and
Bada bang.
it will be signed.
and
Yep,
it will
signed.
be signed
By the
for
cat himself.
future use. All righty, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on to the
Yeah,
show
thank you
today.
for having us, man.
Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.